Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yes, welcome back, everybody.
Today, we're getting into something kind of different, but really fascinating, at least to me. It's a proposal for a new TV quiz show.
Yeah.
And now I know what you're thinking, like, who needs another game show, right?
Yes.
But this one, it's got some twists and turns, and it really got me thinking about how we watch TV these days.
Yeah, it's true. And it's not just about the game itself.
Right.
It's about how we're all kind of glued to our phones, second screening while we watch. This proposal takes that whole idea and, well, turns it up to 11.
Okay, so paint us a picture. What's this proposal all about, and where'd it come from?
Okay, so the proposal itself comes from a guy named David Gilliams.
Gilliams, okay.
That's really all we know about him.
Oh.
But he seems to have a pretty good grasp of the Belgian TV landscape.
Okay.
He actually pictures this quiz show airing maybe on Canvas, perhaps even as a segment on Iedereen Baromini.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's got that kind of vibe.
Okay.
Now, at its core, it's a pretty standard quiz show setup. We're talking two contestants going head-to-head,
Okay.
multiple choice questions, you know the drill.
Right, classic quiz show stuff. But I have a feeling this is where it gets good.
This is where he throws a bit of a curveball.
Okay, lay it on me.
Picture this.
Yeah.
You're at home, you're watching the show, and you've got your phone out.
Oh, I'm already there. I always have my phone.
Of course, right. Who doesn't these days? But here's the twist. You're not just scrolling through social media, you're actually part of the game.
Oh.
There's an app, right? And you use this app to vote for answers.
Okay, I've seen those interactive polls online before, but what makes this one different?
Well, hold on. It gets better. Because if the contestant you're rooting for is in the lead, you can use the app to send deliberately wrong answers to their opponent.
Oh, no!
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious? So the audience can actually sabotage the players.
It's brutal, but yeah, that's what Gilliams is proposing.
I kind of love it. That's diabolical, but it's brilliant. So you're not just watching the show, you're actively rooting for or against contestants, maybe even messing with the outcome.
Exactly. It throws this whole element of, like, almost misinformation into the mix, right?
Yeah.
Makes you think about how much influence we have as viewers and how easily we can be swayed by a little nudge in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like a social experiment disguised as a game show.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got our contestants, or should I say victims, at the mercy of this potentially mischievous audience. But they don't have to go it alone, right? I mean, answering trivia questions under that kind of pressure, that's a lot.
No, they've got some backup. Each contestant actually gets paired up with what Gilliams calls a bekende Vlaming, which, if you don't speak Flemish,
Which I don't.
basically translates to a famous Fleming.
Yeah.
Think your local celebrities, your actors, musicians, you name it.
Oh, okay, so like a celebrity sidekick. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can confer with their contestant, help them out with the answers.
Okay, but the contestant makes the final call.
Yeah, the contestant's the one in the hot seat, ultimately.
I bet that leads to some interesting dynamics, right? On the one hand, you've got this expert, maybe in like Flemish history or pop culture, but then on the other hand, you've got the audience potentially feeding you bad information. It's like, who do you trust?
Exactly. And that's where the entertainment value really goes up, right? Because you've got the pressure of the game, the audience, and then you've got to deal with your celebrity partner who, let's be honest, could be a total wild card.
That's a great point. Like, imagine being paired up with someone who's known for being, well, let's just say a little eccentric.
Exactly. It adds this whole other layer of unpredictability.
And speaking of unpredictable, I hear Gilliams has a trick up his sleeve, a technical primer, as he calls it, in the proposal.
Yeah.
A little something to make this quiz show stand out even more. What is it?
Okay, so remember that old show, Twee taught the zesde macht?
Vaguely. Remind me.
So it was kind of like Chain Reaction in the UK. But the big thing was those isolation booths.
Ah, right, where the
Yes.
contestants were totally isolated from each other.
Exactly. Now, Gilliams, he wants to bring back that isolation booth concept.
Interesting. Okay, but it's 2024. I'm guessing he's not talking about literally bringing back those clunky old booths, right?
He's thinking more high-tech.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Spill the tea.
So he wants to ditch the physical booths completely
Okay.
and use a combination of noise cancellation and sound separation technology instead.
Whoa, hold on. What? Like magic.
Right. So imagine this. One contestant celebrity pair is like huddled together whispering about the answer.
Okay, got it.
But the other pair, they can't hear a single thing.
Oh, wow, that's wild. It's like having those old school isolation booths, but invisible.
Exactly.
But can they actually do that? I mean, that kind of technology, it sounds ambitious, to say the least.
Well, he cites things like, Apple's noise cancellation, how far that's come.
Right.
And there are those videos online, demonstrating sound separation.
I've seen those. It's like they can isolate individual instruments from a live recording. It's really incredible.
Right, so the technology is sort of there.
Sort of.
Yeah, but to pull this off seamlessly in a live TV environment.
Right. With an audience and cameras and all the pressure of a quiz show. Yeah, that's another thing entirely.
Exactly. It's a huge technical challenge, no doubt.
But even if it doesn't work perfectly, you got to give Gilliam's points for sheer audacity. I mean, this guy's not afraid to dream big.
Yeah.
And it would be pretty amazing to see it work.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got our contestants wired up with the latest audio tech at the mercy of a mischievous audience armed with voting apps. What about the questions themselves? Is Gilliam's going for your standard trivia fare?
Well, he does mention wanting a good mix, but he seems to have a soft spot for questions that really make you think.
Okay, like what?
So less about just, recalling random facts.
Right.
And more about, really understanding a concept or, applying logic.
Give me an example.
All right, how about this? We've shifted from storing data on, say, vinyl records to digital storage, like on your phone.
Wow.
What's the fundamental new principle that makes this possible?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not just trivia. That's getting into some deep tech stuff.
Yeah.
You really have to understand how digital storage works, the whole concept of bits and bytes.
Exactly. It's the kind of question that could really scump even a tech-savvy person, especially under pressure.
For sure. It's not something you could just Google on the fly either.
Right.
Well, at least not easily.
Exactly. You got it.
So we've got those head-scratchers.
Yeah.
But I bet Gilliam's isn't going to alienate the pop culture fans, right?
No, he wouldn't dream of it.
So what's he got in store for those of us who live for those water cooler trivia moments?
All right, so picture this.
Yeah.
He wants to throw in these super specific, hyper-specific questions, the kind that would make even the biggest Flemish TD geek go, I don't know that.
Okay, give me an example. Give me your best shot.
Okay. What was the very first line spoken in the very first episode of the Flemish TV show Witse?
Oh my gosh. You'd practically need a time machine and a photographic memory to get that one right. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Good luck Googling that one in the middle of a quiz show, right?
No kidding. He spent the entire time just trying to remember what episode that even was, let alone the first line.
Precisely. But that's part of the brilliance of it, right?
Yeah.
He's creating this this level playing field where someone who's a tech whiz might completely blank on a pop culture question and vice versa.
Right. And that's what makes it fun for the audience, right? You never know who's going to shine or crash and burn. It's brilliant.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these high-stakes questions, a mischievous audience, a celebrity wild card in the mix. There's one thing, though, that I find kind of hilarious, I gotta say.
Okay, tell.
It's this little detail that Gilliams points out himself in the proposal. So before the game even starts, the audience, they have to choose which contestant to support.
Right.
But they only get this super short mini bio to go off of.
Right.
It's like, this contestant enjoys long walks on the beach and collects stamps, and that's it.
You're basically judging a book by its cover.
Exactly.
Which, let's be honest, we all do.
Oh, absolutely we do. It's human nature. But it's funny to think about it in this context, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Because on a quiz show, your knowledge should be what matters.
Right.
Right. But Gilliams is acknowledging that, well, first impressions, they matter too.
Yeah. Like, what if someone's mini bio makes them sound super boring, even if they're a trivia genius?
Yeah.
They're already starting the game at a disadvantage.
Exactly.
It's kind of like those studies that show attractive people tend to get hired more often.
Right.
We might not even realize we're doing it, but we're all susceptible to these unconscious biases.
It's true. And I think this format, really puts a fine point on that,
It does. It makes you think twice about how we judge people, even in something as seemingly trivial as a quiz show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this audience. They're voting. They're sending in potentially wrong answers. They're judging contestants based on, 2 sentences. How does Gilliam see all of this working logistically? I mean, it seems like it could get chaotic pretty quickly, right?
It does. And he actually addresses that in the proposal. He acknowledges that the pace might be a little bit slower than, say, your average, really fast-paced quiz show. Because you've got those moments where the audience is voting. You've got the tech with the sound separation.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He doesn't see that as a negative.
Oh, how so?
Well, he says that slower pace actually gives the producers more time to do what? To show us, the viewers, those isolated conversations between the contestants and their celebrity partners.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's like those moments where they cut to the confessionals on reality TV.
Exactly. And that's where you get the real drama, the humor, the awkward moments, all that good stuff.
Right. Like imagine the celebrity who's completely lost and they're trying to play it cool while their contestant is sweating bullets.
Or the contestant who's paired with a celebrity who thinks they know everything.
Oh, that's comedy gold right there. It's like, no, that's not the capital of Belgium, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the other team is totally in the dark, none the wiser, because of that sound separation tech.
That's brilliant. And you know what else I love about this idea? The editing possibilities are endless. They can cut back and forth between the teams, zoom in on those panicked faces, maybe even throw in some reaction shots from the audience.
Of course. Add some dramatic music, build the suspense, make it a whole production.
Exactly. And you know what else Gilliam suggests? He says that those slower moments, while the tech is doing its thing, that's a prime opportunity for the celebrities to, do what they do best.
Provide some entertainment. Tell some stories.
Exactly. Maybe they tell a funny anecdote, show off a hidden talent, anything to keep the energy up.
Right. Keep the audience engaged.
Exactly. It's all so well thought out. I love it.
It is. Right. He's really thinking about every aspect of the viewing experience.
So to recap, we've got a quiz show with a unique interactive twist. We've got those thought-provoking questions, some pop culture curveballs, a dash of celebrity charm. And let's not forget that cutting-edge technology, Gilliam's is really pushing the boundaries of what a quiz show can be.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget that underlying social commentary, right?
Right.
This whole concept, it makes you question how we form opinions, how easily we're influenced by first impressions, by misinformation. It's pretty deep stuff, especially for a game show.
Yeah, it really is. He's managed to take all these different elements, technology, trivia, celebrity culture, human nature, and weave them into this really thought-provoking, but also wildly entertaining experience.
Exactly. It's ambitious, it's quirky, it's a little bit out there, but who knows, maybe that's what we need.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit out there is just what the doctor ordered. I got to say, reading through Gilliam's proposal, it's clear he's passionate about this idea. He really believes it could be something special.
Absolutely. And that enthusiasm, it's contagious. He even writes at the end of the proposal that if this show ever hits the airwaves, he'll be sure to tune in.
Well, David, if you're out there listening, we salute you. And you know what? I think I speak for both of us when I say we'd tune in too.
100%. This proposal is a breath of fresh air, It's just bursting with creativity. And we got to give credit where credit is due. Gilliam's is really trying to push the boundaries of what a quiz show can be. Totally. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what are your final takeaways for our listeners? What do you hope they'll walk away with, even if they're not like TV producers or diehard trivia fans?
That's a good question. I think at its core, this deep dive, it's about more than just one quiz show proposal, right? It's about the future of entertainment. It's about how technology is changing the way we consume and interact with media.
That's a great point.
Like, imagine the possibilities.
Right.
What other shows could incorporate these kinds of interactive elements? What other technologies could we use to blur those lines between being a viewer and a participant?
Right. Could this be the start of a whole new wave of interactive entertainment? It's exciting to think about.
Yeah, and it's not just about the tech either, right? It's about the human element. It's about how we, as viewers, engage with these shows, how our decisions, even seemingly small ones, can have an impact.
That's so true. It makes you think about the power of those seemingly insignificant choices we make every day, right?
Exactly. And that's what I love about these deep dives. We get to explore these fascinating ideas, have these mind-expanding conversations, and hopefully it inspires all of us to look at the world a little differently.
Well said. And if you, our amazing listeners, have any burning thoughts about this quiz show proposal or any other wacky, wonderful ideas you'd like us to unpack, head over to our show notes. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Don't be shy. We're all ears.
That's right. And with that, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the wild world of interactive quiz shows. Until next time, stay curious.